Hey everybody, a really fun build idea that I've come up with here centered around just like the whole horror genre, getting inspiration from The Grudge, the movie, and just the Japanese folklore of a Kuchisake Onna, which is a like slit-mouthed demon that masquerades as a woman. But the idea for this build is to just like jump scare people and just create a very horror-themed invasion. So we're going to do that by using the Furled Fingers Trick Mirror and the Concealing Veil, as well as Assassin's Gambit and the Sorcery Unseen Form. The nice thing about those two is that if you stack them, you can't be locked on, and it also makes you invisible up to a certain range, so you can kind of like sprint around and get repositioned and in order to set up an ambush from behind. But the way we're going to basically one-shot people is to put Lifesteal Fist on the Keen Beast Claw here. We don't really have that many stats for damage on anything, so we have a bit more dex, so I ended up going with that. But we're going to put Scholar's Armament on that and then stack the Dagger Talisman and the Shard of Alexander, which is a pretty well-known stacking, I think, nowadays. We've also got Royal Drawstring Grease, and that is just so that if we have a weak opponent that we need to ambush and we haven't applied our Scholar's Armament, we can just rapidly put that on and then just get a pretty close amount of damage. Not quite enough to finish off some more tanky opponents or the host, but enough to like snipe people really quickly. I really wanted to avoid buffs on this build and still have the ability to one-shot people because the Glowing Aura can really give you away, especially when you're using like Concealing Veil, because you can still see the buffs even though their character model disappears, which is a really silly oversight by FromSoft. But let's take a quick look. I did also make this a level 200 build, but you can easily make it a level 150 or even 125. Get rid of the faith points essentially because we don't really need the incantations. I just wanted to have the option to use the the Great Beyond staff here, and it is nice to have a couple incantations in particular, namely Ghost Flame Breath, which again kind of going with the death theme of this build. Fortisax Lightning Spear is also nice, and the Darkness incantation's kind of nice to vanish with. Again, similar concept as my Shinobi build, where you just cast this, back up, and then crouch, and then you should be able to crouch walk far enough away that they won't see you. So that's the idea there. But in general, we also have some really good sorcery scaling options when things go bad. The Carrion Regal Scepter we have because it has the best int scaling for Scholar's Armament, which does not draw strength from the faith portion of staffs if they scale off that. So like this staff, for example, would not apply as much damage. But I'll show the Royal Drawstring Grease here. So we get 135. And then if I use the Carrion Regal Scepter, we get a lot more at 280, so you definitely want to use this. It does create a very ghostly appearance here. If you want to get rid of that staff, that's fine too, and that way you can really sell the sort of like ghostly demon form here. Anyways, the point is to sneak up behind people and get them with the L2. Ideally, we want to hit them when they've taken a hit from something. It just is really nice to know that you're going to one-shot them when they've already been wounded, but it's not really necessary, I would say. The Keen Beast Claw might be an interesting choice. I did choose it for the aesthetic originally, rather than using something with a higher crit modifier fist weapon like the Qatar or whatever. But interestingly enough, because the base damage of the Beast Claw is higher than those weapons, it ends up actually doing about the same amount of damage. So all the better. Even though we don't have quite as much of a crit multiplier, it doesn't actually matter. I do have the Misericord on me anyways. I would put Kick on it if I were you. I'm just about to change that. That's just for Great Shield users. But primarily we just need to use the Earthsteel Dagger for Assassin's Gambit. The typical warm-up for the build will be to do this. So assuming my claws weren't actually powered up, if I have the opportunity, I will get behind some cover where they can't see me, cast Ash of War, Unseen Form, change weapons, put on Scholar's Armament, and that's as much buffing as I think I could reasonably justify. At that point, you've also got the Talisman, by the way, making you invisible up to a certain range. But you'll crouch walk up or even sprint up because you're not making noise with Assassin's Gambit. And try to time it so that you can get your Lifesteal Fist as they're doing an action that holds them still, whether it be drinking a flask, attacking an enemy, finish it, or landing from a jump, all that good stuff. There's a whole bunch of different ways to land that. All right, other than that, let's take a quick look at the loadout here. So Keen Beast Claw 25, Carrion Regal, Earthsteel Dagger. Again, if you want, you can change your stats. Just get rid of Faith entirely, and you might need to bring your... I have the dex at 20 so that I can use Waves of Darkness, but if you don't really feel like you'll need that, and I honestly don't think you probably would. You have iframes in this grab anyways. You can definitely shave off a little bit more of the dex there and the strength, but you can easily save 50 points in stats, maybe even all the way down to 125 if you're willing to part with a little bit of your intelligence. The sorceries and incants are just listed right there, so you can take a look. Wondrous Physic, I do have the Magic Shrouding cracked here. It does slightly boost your crits, and then I have Dex just for increasing my Dex scaling for cast speeds, but I might actually end up swapping back some Faith and putting that all into Dex just to get me at the 70 Dex point. Undecided as of this point. I don't think I really need it, but it might be nicer when things go bad and I have to switch to a sorcery duel. Talismans, already covered these two. These two are your stealth aspects in order to position, and also don't forget about your Invader fingers. They're really good. Like if you go down an elevator, for example, if you use one at the bottom and teleport behind them, a lot of times they'll still be looking down and waiting for the elevator to come up, and you can get a grab on one of them super easy. Okay, I think that covers the build. I don't want to linger too long on this one as it's not an entirely new concept, just a couple of tweaks on it from me. But let's jump into the invasions, which have been a ton of fun. I should probably add too, you don't need to use all of the Ash of Wars and the buffing sorceries. All you need is Scholar's Armament, by the way. And if you feel like you want to get rid of your claws glowing, because let's say your opportunity to rush them down was missed, or they turned around, you can just put the claws away, and then reposition and rebuff and go in again. Just try to make sure you apply the buff far enough away that they won't hear it.